Yes, if you can take a look at that small column at the on your screen there, Yala Bodies per county. In Nairobi, 10, Kisumu 1, Kakamega 2, Uasin Gishu 1, and Busia 1. That story is fully fleshed out for you on page 4 and 5. And then the story of the controversial killing of the journalist. Now probe shifts to final movements of Pakistani killed in Kajiado. The story has been covered extensively since yesterday, and it's also here on the front page of the Star. You can take a look at that on the topmost part. Probe now shifts to final movements of Pakistani killed in Kajiado. All right, on the bottom there, Sunak, born of Kenyan father, becomes the first British Asian Prime Minister. Something to smile about as a Kenyan. Rishi Sunak, born of a Kenyan father, will become the UK's first British Asian Prime Minister after his only remaining rival pull out of the Tory leadership contest. Nearly 200 Conservative MPs publicly backed Sunak ahead of the nomination deadline on Monday. All right, and still on the bottom there, standoff as vetting committee disagrees on 3 CS nominees, again covered on other dailies. The National Assembly Committee on Appointment is reported to have disagreed on the approval of 3 out of the 24 nominated by President William Ruto to drive various state departments. It is reported that the committee, led by Speaker Moses Wetangula, could not agree on 3 names. That is Aisha Jumwa, that is Mythical Inturi, and of course Moses Kuria. On the second page here, probe shift to final movements of Pakistani scribe killed in Kajiado. There you have it. We have the photo of the gentleman there. A photo of, a wheel, and that is the other side of the V8, that the vehicle he was driving. Journalist was shot dead on Sunday along Nairobi Magadi Road. Ashad 50 was shot in the head and killed by police after he and his driver allegedly breached a roadblock that had been set up to check on motor vehicles using the road. Very quickly on the second page, the third page there, Kenyans sweep top 3 UN persons of year fighting drought. It's an effect, and number 1, an innovator in dry land agriculture who improves nutrition, food security. He was honored for his innovative work with the dryland agriculture and food security. He is head of the country's agro-nutrition unit. Acute malnutrition in Turkana is 38.4% and getting worse. Something to clap about as a nation. All right, down there is a cartoon, a caricature there. That is the man on top there is that must be the president, and he's riding on a mule or a horse. That's a donkey, and he's saying that stay focused on what is ahead. And there is a carrot there. He's dangling a carrot, and if you can look at the mouth of that donkey, it's salivating. The carrot, and there is water, but the paddle he's sitting on is written Ukambani, but he keeps on flogging the donkey. I don't know how you're going to interpret this.
The message is home.
The message is home.
It is home. It's home. It's home.
The message is home. And the topmost part of that caricature, let's just go back to that cartoon. All right? There is that yellow scorching sun. There you have it. The yellow scorching sun. There is a carrot dangled. And the rider says, stay focused on what's ahead of you. So
that's the situation.
Is this coming after those sentiments in Kitui? Was it Kitui?
Yeah.
Over the weekend?
And if you can look at that donkey, actually it's been flogged, and it has blisters, and the rungu has, the rungu is Kalonzo, it's written Kalonzo. Yeah. Kalonzo, it has got some thorns.
Basically what the president talked about, Kalonzo, and how he has been those tumultuous movements in the party that he is, but Kalonzo still remains steadfast where his stand is and where he wants to serve at least the next 5 years. Quite interesting.
All right, quite interesting there.
What's the question, Victor? You were to ask us a question.
Yes, that one coming later. Hold.
All right.
And you will fail.
Still waiting.
You will fail. You know, we know those students who, me teacher. Yes, I have, Victor. I have forgotten.
Steph is one of those ones.
But as long as we raised our hand, we tried.
You tried by raising your hand in class?
Yeah, teachers are somebody. There's no wrong answer. So, you know, same situation.
There's no wrong. An answer is an answer. Wrong one is a wrong one.
There's no wrong answer. As long as you tried.
Cops linked to Yala killings and 112 disappearances here. Barely days after President William Ruto disbanded the Special Service Unit, said to be a killer squad within the DCI and the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA came to a grim conclusion. Now, they say that IPOA said the police could also been involved in the killings and dumping of bodies in the Yala and Tana rivers. Now, IPOA officials say that official civilian police watchdog also revealed that they are investigating enforced disappearances of more than 112 people. The disappearances cases dates from 2017 to this year, suggesting the practice could be systematic rather than an aberration. Now, there's a very sinister motive here and the way this thing is happening. In 2017-2021, the authority launched its own motion investigations into incidents in which 13 bodies were recovered in River Tana on diverse dates. All bodies were at an advanced state of decomposition and had torture wounds. 11 bodies had stones tied to them. Now, we all know what happens when a stone is tied to a body and dumped into a river.
You cannot float.
Yeah, it can never come back. You can never float. So that's how it happens. Now, this actually explains how this really happened. All right, very fast into the second page. Standoff as a vetting committee disagrees on the 3 nominees. They have raised issues with nomination of Jumwa Linturi and Moses Kuria. And sources at the powerful committee said that the deadlock for the better part of yesterday, there was a deadlock for the better part of yesterday on the fate of the 3 nominees whose suitability was contested by the minority side. They said that according to the sources, members of the committee were yet to agree on the nomination of former Malindi MP Aisha Jumwa, former Meru Senator Mithika Linturi, and former Gatundu South lawmaker Moses Kuria. Now, the 3 were among the nominees whose conduct was subject of heated debate during the vetting, with some members of the panel saying that they fail the threshold of Chapter 6 of the Constitution. So how that is going to pan out is going to be an interesting bit now that they are going to table that report on the floor of the House later in the day, that's in the afternoon, for a debate. If they pass, then it will have to be taken to the President for a final assent and, of course, final appointment. If they reject it, back to the drawing board. If they seek amendments, again, the House will get into business. Aya, time for class. Tereng, tereng. Who is going first?
Yeah, ready.
Are you ready?
The student who raised her